Hi everyone, welcome to another installment of Cooking with a Christensen, Backpacking Edition. So I just wanted to go over some backpacking food suggestions, and just so that you're aware of what's out there and what's available. And I wanted to show you some of the things that I like to do when I go backpacking. So first off, I think probably most of you are familiar with these prepackaged backpacking meals. You can go to Mac and they have a gigantic wall of them. There's everything from mac and cheese to pad thai, chicken teriyaki, spaghetti. They have a huge selection, and they're quite good. One thing that's really nice about these is you cook and eat the meal all inside of the package. So if you packed only these, you could essentially get away without even bringing any bowls or anything to cook your meal in. As long as you can boil water and pour it into the package, then you're good. A couple of things I don't like about them is they're pretty bulky, and your garbage is also pretty bulky because these packages they're fairly thick and large, because they need to be big enough for you to cook and eat out of. And also they're quite expensive. So you're looking at pretty much between $11 and like $15 per meal. So fairly expensive for each meal. So here's a couple of other options that I've done in the past on some of my backpacking trips. One good one is, if you go to places like Bulk Barn, or actually my favorite and probably the better place to find good selection is a health food store like Community. You can get freeze-dried pre-made soups. I didn't get a chance to get to Community before this, but this is a soup called Jumping Jambalaya soup that's from Bulk Barn. And when you're looking for soups at Bulk Barn, what you want to look for is the cook time. So they have the directions posted there usually, and it'll say how long it needs to cook for. Some of their soups have raw beans in them and raw rice, and in those cases you're going to have to cook it for 40 minutes or longer before your meal is ready, and you don't really want that on a backpacking trip. This one is one that needs to cook for 3 minutes, so that's perfect kind of a meal. It's a soup that's been cooked and then freeze dried, and so basically all you need to do is add hot water, and it's going to rehydrate, and you have soup. Here's another one. They have at Bulk Barn as well instant noodles, and again, you just want to look at the cooking time that's in the directions on the little info post-it next to the bin. So it's like a quick cooking noodle. And then they also have mac and cheese sauce and Alfredo sauce. This is Alfredo sauce. I'm going to try and see how it is. I haven't tried it before, but you basically make your own instant mac and cheese. This is probably almost exactly like what's inside of the mac and cheese packages that you get at MEC. So here's another one, and for this one, it's a little bit more involved, I guess, or there's more stuff to it. But basically, I've taken one of these couscous mixes, and couscous is a really good noodle because it's designed to basically be an instant noodle. You pretty much any couscous, you just pour it in a bowl, and then you pour boiling water on it, and that's how you cook it. You don't have to boil it to cook it or anything like that. You just pour the boiling water on it, let it sit covered for 5 minutes, and then it's ready to go. So I've taken couscous, and this is a couscous that already has some flavorings in it, so some roasted garlic and olive oil. And to that I've added some sun-dried tomatoes, a little bit of cut up sausage, some dried mushrooms, some pumpkin seeds, I think I have some sesame seeds in there somewhere, and a little bit of bouillon, so chicken, just to give it a little bit more flavor. So I'm going to try this one out as well. But I find that this kind of thing is really good. You know, you start with some kind of a starch or something like that, like a noodle, and then you add some flavor and some things that are high calorie, like the sausage that's in there. It's a dry cured sausage, so it won't go bad if it's left out. And they're quite fatty, so they have a lot of energy, which you want when you're hiking. Same with the nuts and seeds that I put in there. Again, high calorie. So, you know, you mix that up, package it up, makes a really tasty meal. For breakfast, I usually do a similar kind of a thing. There's the little packages that you can get of oatmeal, and those are great. They're easy to pack. If you want to go a little bit more homemade, you can do something like this. So it's just oat flakes, like rolled oats, instant rolled oats. And then to that, I've just added some coconut and some nuts and some dried fruit. And this usually cooks up really well. It tastes really great. It's great for hiking. A couple other things to show you. So this is, you can get a lot of prepared meals, or kind of like instant meals. Superstore has a good selection. But here's an example. This is a 10-minute rice and beans, and you can buy something like this, portion it out if you need to, and you can add again things like what I've added to this one. So some of the sausage, or you know, a little bit of olive oil. That's the other thing I added to this. Just a dash of olive oil to give it a little bit more calories. So you can do that again to this. Spice it up however you want, and this was only, I think this says that it's 4 servings. I don't really believe that. This feels more like maybe 2 servings to me. But this was only like $2.50. So gives you an idea. And this is how I typically package things when I go camping. So this is the mac and cheese. So I've got my noodles and my sauce in there. And I usually I have it in the bulk barn bag, but sometimes I just use a sandwich bag, put a twist tie around the top, and it's really small, easy to pack away. It works great. This one is that jumpin' jambalaya soup. And again, you're gonna have to figure out what kind of portions you want, and then just portion it out, tie it up, and there you go. That's your meal for that day. So for stuff that's not meals, I really like to bring, you know, nut mixes. That's kind of, everybody knows about that. You know, Gorp, or, you know, make your own mix or buy a mix. Those are usually really good because they're high calorie, they're fairly light and easy to pack. This is another thing that I love to get for every camping trip that I go on. It's just this one is a Swiss farmer sausage. But the key is that you want a dry cured sausage. So this one is a dry cured and smoked. And the dry cured sausages, you can tell because they're hard, they're dried, and just like beef jerky, they will keep outside of the refrigerator. So you're good to go and take it over. I've taken these on 10-day trips, and you know, kind of everything from, you know, for a 3-day trip, you're gonna have no problem with something like this. I'll show you one other of my absolute favorites. There's a place called Safari Meats. It's just on McLeod Trail, and they are a South African meat shop. And South Africans are pros at dried meats and beef jerky. They have their own variations of it. They have a few different ones, but they have, I guess the main ones are something called Drewwurst. I'll show you the Drewwurst. So here it is. So it's kind of like a pepperoni stick a little bit. It doesn't taste like a pepperoni stick. It tastes more like beef jerky, but just so good. And lots of calories. It's dry, so that means it's light, and it's, you know, easy to pack, and it'll keep forever out of the refrigerator, no problem. And then they also have something called biltong, which is essentially just like dried steak, and that also is delicious. And then the other thing that they do are these things which they call curry sticks, which pretty much just looks like beef jerky. It doesn't taste quite the same as most beef jerkies that you'll have, and they have a few different flavors, but these are just, they're awesome. They're nice thick pieces of meat, really flavorful. So I recommend those if you want to get some good beef jerky to bring on your trip. And the other thing I like about these, the Droevers or the actually any of these meats, and actually especially this farmer sausage, is if you have a meal like this, or even like the jumping jambalaya, after you cook this up, you can slice a few bits of your sausage in there or throw some of the beef jerky in there, and that rehydrates with the soup, and you get this nice meaty and rich soup to eat. So here's a couple of my favorites. Here's one more. I know the boys are gonna love this one, but lar bars. I actually really like lar bars for hiking. They are also packed with a lot of calories. I can't remember who it was saying that they had the blueberry one. It was terrible. I've never had the blueberry one, so I can't tell you how terrible it is. But the other flavors, the cashew and the peanut butter, they're really good. So give those a shot. Okay, so I'm gonna hydrate these now, and I'll give you a little look of what they're like once they're cooked. But basically, you're gonna boil water, pour it in, stir it around, and then let it sit until it's cooked or rehydrated, and you're good to go. So I'll be back in a second. All right, we're back. We've got some cooked meals to show you. I also wanted to show you this website, which I will link in the email that I send this video out with. But it's just a blog that goes through almost exactly what I said. Although they're probably the suggestions that they make are probably a little bit better than mine. I think that they've done a little bit more testing than I have. I kind of just ad hoc throw things together and hope that it works, and it usually works out pretty good. Sometimes it doesn't always work. But they have some really good suggestions on how to put together a meal similar to some of the ones that I've showed you. The other thing that I wanted to mention is I have seen at Costco packages of stuff that they call couscous, and it is not couscous. So if you're planning on doing a couscous type meal, make sure that you get real couscous, because the stuff at Costco is more like a noodle that you have to boil and cook. So real couscous looks like this. It almost looks like a grain. So if you aren't familiar with it, make sure whatever you buy is something like this. The other ones, they look like a tiny little pellet. They're all exactly the same shape and size, whereas it's non-uniform. So anyway, that's what you're looking for. So here are the meals. Here's the breakfast. And I'm gonna try each of these. Maybe not right now, but I'll try this one now. Really good. Nice and sweet, lots of flavor and lots of calories. Here's the jumping jambalaya soup. You might have to experiment a little bit with the water content, but it's pretty soupy, looks good. It tastes really good. I tried that one before. And here's that couscous meal. So nicely hydrated and awesome flavor with that farmer sausage in there, really smoky and lots of good flavor. My mac and cheese didn't turn out so hot. I think I got a little too much water in there. So I'll have to try that one again. But otherwise, a few really good meals that are cheap, fairly easy to put together, and you don't end up with a lot of packaging to pack out. I guess that's all for now. If you have any questions, please reach out. This is definitely not trying to dissuade you from going with the prepackaged camping meals. Those are absolutely great, and if you want to go that route, go for it, because they are nice and easy. They're ready to go. They're portioned, and you don't have to bring a bowl to eat them out of. So yeah, I guess that's it. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, whatever the YouTube people say. And thanks for watching.